It's the Do Not Scratch Your Eyes post-match phone-in on X or Twitter or whatever it's called these days.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one, wasn't it? I mean, really, the moment of the game was undoubtedly Iran Kunda's amazing free kick. I think everybody loved and enjoyed that. But it obviously the second half is there to be talked about. So as ever, let us know what your thoughts were. I thought as it started off, didn't think it was great, but I thought the positives were in the first 10-15 minutes we sort of nullified a team like Swansea who always like to pass the ball, and I thought, well, we're nullifying them. We haven't got Chak, we haven't got Bar on the pitch, we haven't got Luz, we haven't got Vata. And yet we're sort of, causing something. The press was less intense than versus QPR, definitely. And Kieran Gard and Iran Kunda sort of started easing into the game and working as a pair, which was good to see. We had that header from Kieran Gard with the ball played to the back of the defence, this time by Bolla, which was good to see. Cipriano put in an awful lot of hard work, picks up a yellow card, and suddenly you're thinking, we haven't got many midfielders of his quality and his energy. If he goes, what are we going to do for 2 days, or for 2 games, I should say? So, kind of an interesting one there. What did people think of Max Alleyne? To me, there was little echoes. I mean, he's clearly class on the ball, and I'm sure he's going to be one of these players who will go back to Man City when he does eventually and play like a god. But there was a lot of times when I saw him kind of suddenly popping into midfield to track with the runner, and then Swansea would play the ball in behind where he'd come out. Echoes a little bit of Porteous in terms of just that particular moment, that particular manoeuvre. Let us know what you thought about him. Obviously, that yellow card, as I mentioned, and then the free kick. I mean, the free kick, holy heck. That was a moment that I think neutrals will enjoy. Only people who won't enjoy that will be obviously the Swansea fans. We kind of got let's think about it. I mean, what's his name? The lad Semantic came on and was booked after 40 seconds, again for climbing all over Iran Kunda. He was irrepressible in that particular time, but they showed that they were dangerous on the counter. And there was a little ball in with again this time again by Semantic, little reverse ball, and it really needed Selvik to come out and chase it down. Could have been an equaliser. Again with another ball in from the left and a great little ball in from I thought a tremendous little player that Luke mentioned to us when we were talking to him on the opposition view. He mentioned Galbraith, who they bought in, I think it was from Leyton Orient. And he looks like, I thought he was very, very good. Played a little ball in, and Kevin came across and covered it nicely. But the ball stopped sticking up front, and especially even more so once Iran Kunda went off and we brought Bar on. Alleyne missed a header, and we just stopped pressing. Kip, at one point, Cipriano was sitting back deep, and then Kayembe and Sissoko weren't doing the work in front. And it just... the seesaw gradually turned in that second half to us going from sort of having something to really, really being up against it. And I think, frankly, at the end of it, holding on. I don't think that's anything that will surprise people. Header from Ronald in the 77th minute, and then Andrews came on for Ngakia, and of course Vipotnik got the winner. Now, as ever, probably like a lot of you, I've been on a chat and a lot of people have looked at that and said, oh, Abankwah, bad defending. My question was, Ryan Andrews had come on and Vipotnik was his man, and the ball got cleared, but didn't get cleared out far, and he pushed on, and Vipotnik just ran across the line, in an offside position, but just ducked back in and went back and got in front of Abankwah. And no organisation, no calling, no organisation about passing that man on. If you just vacate your man and don't expect him to make a blindside run across a defender, well, it's a bit naive, to be frank. But there we go. Anyway, you let us know what your thoughts are on the day. Not even seen 1 minute of the game. Let's have a look at this. The first message. But I'd have taken a point before the game onto a massive test. Again, Southampton says hostpipe _1 via X. That's very nice. Well, let's get to let's get to John Parslow first of all and see what Mr. Parslow wishes to say. As ever, guys, we'll be here. It depends who wants to say what, obviously. But let us know. Make a request. Come on, we'll have a chat with you, Mr. Parslow, sir. How you doing?
Yeah, how are you doing, Peter? Not too bad.
I'm all right. I was swearing obviously profusely throughout, mainly at the Sky director showing us long lingering pictures of somebody in the stand or a manager when the game's going on. That is now destroyed. That's this season's irritation for me. Sorry, but yeah, 1-1. What do you reckon?
You're upset at long lingering glimpse of Greg, is that?
Yes, no, yeah. There was a picture of Wendover wearing his Sergio Tacchini yellow top, which he mentioned. He practically gave it a sales pitch last time, and there he was. Yeah. There he was, having taken Mrs. Wendover to Swansea for the weekend. Mrs. Wendover's long weekends do tend to coincide with the away fixtures, don't they?
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, there's a reasonable amount to unpack, and I mean, you know this from the start of the season, and
yeah,
my feelings on the season have been a bit like, what's really changing? And as you know, I was sort of saying, I'm getting a bit of my positivity Parslow back in the first half after the first 15, 20 minutes because it's quite good. So it's kind of been pushed back a bit, but I think there are overall, depending on expectations, overall reasons to be reasonably positive.
Yeah.
I mean, the big positive obviously is that I don't know if you've got a mind the gap button ready, but maybe you should do. But at least that gap's definitely got bigger. So as they up the road lost, so that's one good thing. But today, I mean, I think if you step, I guess, getting a draw at Swansea, who've been having pretty good home record recently, generally doing quite well. It's not been a happy hunting ground for us. So I think if you unlock all that, that's pretty good. I think it was so the first half, lock it, go. We just need more of that. But again, it's two games in a row. We've kind of overall done quite well in the first half. We're getting excited, and then a bit of hanging on. So there's something to fix. I think we missed Loser in that last bit to control. I think we just lost control, right? Overall,
I agree.
Yeah. So and we just couldn't control the ball in the middle. But there were a number of positives. I actually thought Max Lane. It's interesting. I was going to talk to him about. I just heard what you said because I was going to come on and go, I barely noticed him, and is that a good thing? Because there was I think there was a point around 75, just before you went off, it was going, it's not really in the game, but it just seems to be helping organise, or there's something good going on. But I didn't pick up on the things that you saw about coming into midfield, really. So maybe I've misread it, but I barely noticed him at all. No, but I thought that was a good thing in some ways. I thought that was a good thing, but I haven't seen him. I'd have to watch some of it back again.
John, the reason why we like to talk about it is because I might look at it and see one aspect of his play, but other people will look at it and see others and say, no, he was calm and he was quiet and he was understated and he's playing his way in, and that's fine. There's no problem with that whatsoever. If anybody else, I just saw him coming in a couple of times, and it was because, and of course I'm watching it on telly, so the guys who are watching it live will have a different take on it, and that'd be great to hear from them. But it was like, the ball's in midfield, and suddenly, Elaine's gone charging in with somebody, and then they played the ball in kind of into the space where he left, and it was reminiscent of the thing that Porteous did, without obviously, Porteous never had the what's the sort of the grace that you see Porteous do it all with, but it was odd nonetheless. What about everything else?
Kurum Gao, you called it earlier, is increasingly impressing me. His hold up play, the chances he had was really good. Iran Kundo, I'll get all the pronunciation wrong. I still need to practice. But real asset. My concern with Barr is, not that he didn't come on fire. I just wonder whether he's holding back because there's still a risk he may leave in the transfer window. That's my slight concern on that. I just don't know if something bigger is going on in the background, or he's just trying to nurse through his concerns as to whether the pulls and strains he's had. He just doesn't want to unlock it fully in the moment. So there's a little bit of that going on. But I thought that was overall. I mean, yeah, Cipriano in midfield showed that's really, really good. Long term, like to see him and Loser and then someone else. So that's looking good if we end up with a good back three. And I thought the biggest thing is right. So my whole thing about this season is like, what's going to change versus last year? My prediction is still mid-table, but there are signs of positivity. I think the big difference, and I thought I'd be coming on and saying this before we conceded the equaliser. I was going to go, it's the defence. I think the fact that we've cemented Kevin and Abankwah since the start of the year, and they look like they're a little bit more fitter. And Selvik in overall, and then the way Ngaki is playing overall, and actually Bola actually had a good game today as well. So across that 3 to 5 at the back, I think that's the big transition difference, that actually we do look more solid. And I know you're talking about maybe Elaine coming into midfield, and I think the point a little bit difference there is if he does come in, we do have pace at the back now to cover.
Yeah.
So we do have the opportunity to push on a little bit, which is why the 3-5-2, which I'm never a huge fan of, but I think it's kind of good for us at the moment. And the reason it's good because we do not have a line leader who can lead the line on his own, right? So we do need to up front. So that's good. So yeah, all round, I'll take it. It's a shame in a way. I think probably at the end, 1-1 was about right. We just got to get this consistency again from playing one good half to maybe just struggling a little bit or controlling the game, and that's the same problem as last season. So that's a step up gap for that maybe. But I'm going to Swansea getting a 1-1. Honestly, they put a stat up. I don't if you watch on Sky as well. They put a stat up, didn't they? Something about Swansea won 6 of their last 8 games.
Yeah, it's the Liberty Stadium is definitely a bit of a fortress for them, and it's they like to play football, and I thought they did, and I thought they'll be looking at that and to the game finish, going, we could have had that, and I think we have to look at it as it's a point gained rather than 2 dropped. Do you agree with that? Oh, he's gone. We've lost John. We've lost John to the inevitable the inevitable problems that are our telephony signal. But we're going to try and go to Wales. We're going to try. Is it Luke? Luke, sir, are you there? Hit your mic button at the bottom left, and that will let you chat to us. Luke, how you doing?
Hi, yeah, it is me. I'm here. Just watched the game, so yeah, fresh views from what I've just seen.
Oh, mate, this is great. I love the opposition view after the game as well. Well, it was it wasn't one for the purists, I grant you, and there were long stretch, but I think both sides had decent spells, and obviously the one real moment of class was I would suggest the free kick, but Vopotnik gives you something else in terms of a bit of movement and canniness, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I was calling for him to come on from even half time. I think it was we knew he wouldn't do a half time substitution, but he came on too late. I think the game was crying out for a striker to get on the end of something, whether that was within the box or for us to get up the field in the first half. Callan just wasn't doing that job for us, and I think that really made us struggle in the first half to get any sort of control of the game. And I think it's just a bit of an issue at Swansea at the moment. We are being linked to strikers, they say, and they want to bring another one in, but we'll have to wait and see if it happens. And there was rumours that Vopotnik fell out with Sheehan last week because he didn't come on pitch last week. And it looked like potentially that might be true from the way they came on so late, and it didn't. Weirdly, there was a bit of a reaction from Sheehan when he scored that seemed maybe he was a bit like, oh, well, that's going to be an awkward conversation tomorrow. But yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but I think he should have come on earlier.
Well, Vopotnik looks like one of those players who you don't always see on the scoring charts, but when you go and play them with Watford, they always seem to make an appearance. I can't remember what the name was. Was it Olich, the guy at Preston, did the same thing to us last time? Yeah, or whatever his name was. Well, I thought you looked, especially in that second half, when you sort of raised the levels and met us, and especially when Iran Kunda came off, and we only really ended up having one player up front who was prepared to kind of try to header for it, because I mean it's just not, you know, Barr's game. And he looks a little bit out of sorts down the middle as opposed to out wide, left or right, either way. But I said at the start of this, Galbraith, how much did you get him for? I thought he was very, very tidy, and absolutely, you're absolutely right in the style of some of your classic midfielders.
Yeah, Galbraith, I think he's been a bit of a bargain signing, and I think it was 2 point something million, if I'm not mistaken, but everything's undisclosed these days, so
Yeah.
don't quote me on that. But definitely, I think, to be honest, Stamenic came on and had a really good impact in midfield. I think he added a bit of hardness that perhaps we were missing.
Yeah.
Bit of a weird yellow card to pick up on your debut, a couple of like seconds into the game, but he definitely improved after that. And a couple of big tackles that I was a bit biting my fingernails watching him go in for, but he came out good, so it was all well and good with that one. But that moved Galbraith to right back, which is somewhere he's capable of playing. But I think it opens up a bit of a conversation for us, because we have invested heavily in the midfield this season.
Yeah.
A lot of the new signings that have come in have been in our area in different sort of roles and jobs, but they all look really quality in their own way. And I don't particularly want Galbraith to be like moved out wide, but potentially he just showed from right back, I think, in the second half of that game, that he was still able to get very involved in that game and put some really good quality balls up the field, or some little bits of good play with his feet as well. Maybe that just gives us option to get 3 other quality midfielders in that do a different sort of role and gives a better balance. I think you can invert into the midfield anyway when we're going forward. So yeah, things to think about there, but he's been definitely a really good addition for us. I think he'll have a good season, and you know, depending on where we go in the next year or two, I wouldn't be surprised if he continues to go up the pyramid.
Very good, very good. Oh, well, I mean, you know, if he wants a 2-match loan at Watford while we're waiting for Loser to go, I will certainly take him. So in terms of, you know, that free kick moment, because it was, you know, and I appreciate that anybody looking at a goal that they're conceding, isn't there? What did you make of Iran Kunda and Kiram Gor, as we seem to be slightly calling him? We're still not quite sure how to pronounce it. What did you think of the front two, especially in that first half?
That is it Iran Kunda? He was
Iran Kunda,
yeah. Well, he was very, very good. I had my WhatsApp group for the podcast. A couple of the boys that were actually at the match saying like, yeah, he's something special. And then obviously then they caught wind of where you signed him from, and I think everyone was quite impressed with the performance that he was putting up there. He definitely caused us a lot of trouble, and I think when we saw him go down injured, I know that's not what you want to see, but I think it was a little bit of a sigh of relief for us, and obviously we managed to get on top a little bit after that. So it showed perhaps the impact he was having, trying to get you into our half and sort of mitigate us having control of the ball. The free kick specifically, I was a bit disappointed that the free kick was given, but then that's one for, you know, you could probably argue that for years, but there's no debate in the quality of the actual shot from that free kick. I was reeling over the decision. I was like, oh, it's a bit soft. And then the commentators came on and said the same thing. And I was like, oh, yeah, see, that should never have been given. Next thing you know, while I'm there with my red mist, the ball just hit the back of the net. So I was like, oh, that just compounds the fact that I didn't think it was the right decision, but you can't take away from the effort. And for Swansea, frustratingly, we still haven't conceded a goal from open play this season. One from a corner, one from a direct free kick now. So
you mentioned that, yes.
You know, good in a way, but also a bit frustrating that in these tight games, there's something that's gone against us to perhaps, you know, show that defence is working quite well.
Yeah, very good, very good. Oh well, look, well, thank you for coming on and saying hello, Luke. Well, Luke is, as everybody knows, one of our favourites, and the man who makes basically Justin melt, because Justin loves nothing more than a radio voice, and Luke certainly has that. Well, Luke, have a great rest of the season, sir. Until we meet again, which obviously will be at our place, and we look forward to catching him there. There you go. That's nice, wasn't it? There was Luke. Let's get down to somebody in and around the principality as well, but also coming out of the game is our old friend, Mr. Wendover Horn, Greg. Now, I'll need to know whether or not he is with Mrs. W or whether he has binned her off at the shopping or she's binned him off at the football, one or the two. Greg, sir, how are we doing?
Well, Mrs. W came to the game.
Oh, this is what we'd like to see.
Yeah.
Mrs. Well, Greg, enough of you. Let's get Mrs. W on the line straight away. Mrs. W, what did you think of the game?
I thought that after they scored the first goal, they just sat on their laurels. You can't score one goal and then just give up. You need to keep playing.
Well, we can all go home now. We've all heard from Mrs. W about what we should all be doing. I like that. I like that very much. Come on, what was your take then, Greg? Let's reluctantly get back to Mr. Wendover. And so, what was your take on all things today at the game, and what was the atmosphere like?
I thought the atmosphere was good. I thought the ref was shit. 10 yellow cards? That wasn't a dirty game. Same idiot referee that we had at Charlton, who's got all his biceps done, and
he was the same one, yeah, absolutely.
Same one, yeah. Hopeless referee. We should have killed the game off in the first half. I thought we lost a lot of our attacking intent when Irakunda went off.
Yep.
I loved. I'm sorry, I have to disagree with your.
That's all right. That's what we're here for. You disagree.
Your man from Swansea.
Luke, yep.
Definite free kick for the free kick that led to the goal.
Okay.
And I thought prior to Irakunda getting fouled, a great bit of centre forward play by LK9. I thought, he's going to be good. He's not the finished article, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I again saw enough in that boy today to think, yeah, we've got one there. The header in the first half was a decent header.
Yep.
He's going to be all right. He's going to be all right. The other one, I'm not so sure about. Semedo.
Yep.
Not so sure. I don't think our bench is strong enough. Their bench was stronger than our bench.
Well, I wasn't sure on his actual selection of substitutes that he had, because you've got. I mean, now any manager will know that sometimes you'll have somebody on your bench who isn't really fit. But I don't understand why Semedo came on and Doumbia is suddenly not coming on. I don't get that.
Yeah. I would agree. I would agree with you, Pete. I would agree with that.
You've got Tom Dele-Bashiru on there, but you're bringing James Morris into a sort of pseudo midfield defensive. On the week when Barami has come out and said, yeah, well, he can go in the Watford Observer. So I agree. I think I think we saw the fact that once you make an alteration, and Irakunda to Bar was a real big obvious version of that. We all love Bar, we all know what he can do, what he can do, but you can see the drop off in terms of the work rate, the effervescence, and the preparedness to try to win a header. I mean, let's face it, Irankunda's about 3'1", and he won loads of headers because he tries.
He did. Yeah, he's a bag of fun, isn't he, Pete? He's a bag of fun. It was just tired, wasn't he? I don't think it was a particular injury. You might have seen more on the telly than I did.
Yeah, he was holding his hamstring area, so it could have been cramped, but it looked precautionary because he sort of had something not dissimilar against QPR, and of course he's got to get back into playing regularly. He didn't get all of pre-season in, so we will see where where everything else goes. But yes,
I tell you again, the maligned Massa today. Put in another shift.
Just repeat that, because we just lost your signal on that for the moment.
Yeah, the maligned Musa Sissoko, I thought, also put in a shift today. I think he's putting shifts in Musa at the moment.
I don't disagree. I think when there was a period in the second half where, and he would have been right in front of you, where Cipriano had to kind of dropped into the back line. So we'd literally got 6 across the back line. And at that point, you could see that KMB and Sissoko couldn't get around, especially that late on in the game. to screen off the balls into their the opposition forward line as quickly. You know, we really need somebody in with the legs and the positional sense that Cipriano gives. But no, I don't disagree. I think think Sissoko has done all right, and Kayembe, for all the frustration that I look at him as when we don't have possession of the ball, I don't think he presses fast enough. I don't think he gets anywhere close to his guys.
No.
I think he kind of tends to woolly around. And the problem is if you try and press a team, and if they're good enough to pass around the press, then you'll be found out. And if you leave a man free because one of your team are deciding they're not going to engage in the press, that can happen. I'm not saying that happened specifically in this instance, because as we all know, that's not where the goal came from. But I think we could still do with some additional legs. And you've got Tom Dele-Bashiru on the bench. Now, we again know that he's going to be probably being considered as, well, certainly not first choice, so possibly leaving. But, if you take them, try and make sure that you can at least use them, I imagine. You just heard from Luke there talking about Vipotnik. Had a fallout, brought him on, put in a performance.
Is Tom Dele's knee going to get through a medical anyway?
Well, yeah, let's just say yes for that, just on the basis that, well, we sort of hope so. If any funds that come in will go towards bringing in somebody else, potentially from Udinese, who knows? We appreciate that Lovric has been mentioned, and the name that I'd heard, which I'd mentioned to a couple of people, but only a couple, it was Piotrowski, who's also then been mentioned again, but they all seem like they're wanting to play for Udinese at this moment in time. So who knows? But we definitely need some additional sort of depth in there to make sure we don't have that fall away in that second half. Because again, we made the comparison to Bielsa last couple of weeks. If you can see his teams are dying, he needs to have replacements that will be able to go in and slot in and give us energy.
I agree. Yeah. But if we've been promised they're not finished in the window yet. So let's hope we're right. I don't trust Ryan Andrews, to be fair. Every time the ball gets anywhere near him, I panic.
Yeah.
I'd love to see another right back come in, but let's see. My final point, Peter, is does our assistant coach not know the rules of football? He's been yellow carded again today for exactly the same thing.
Yes. I was also told that we had another coach going around the back of the goal in front of the fans, giving messages to Selvik again, which we kind of which we saw against Norwich, and everyone went, really? Okay. Is that really needed? I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll look back at it in 2 years and go, look, we started that trend. Now everybody is sending off, kind of DHL to tell somebody on the left wing what to do.
Look, I like a bit of passion from the bench. Don't get me wrong. We've wanted a bit of passion from the bench, but you can go over the top, and he's gone over the top 2 weeks in the trot now. So yeah, whatever. But if you'd have offered me a point yesterday morning, I probably would have taken it. So Mrs. W's got to a game because we had a spare ticket, but I've got to pay for that now because we're on the way to Bridgeend, going to the designer outlet stores at Bridgeend. So
there you go. Go. Well, Mrs. W, go and give his credit card a bash, if you'll excuse the expression.
Oh, I will.
There's promises. Well, look, we look forward to hearing the credit card statement thud on a door in Wendover at some point. Guys, go and have a nice weekend. Go and treat her in an appropriate fashion to say, sorry, I took you to the football. That's what we want. Look at that. Look at that. Lovely. Wendover, and indeed Mrs. Wendover. Like them both very, very much indeed. Let's get Mr. Neil Silverstein in on the South Coast. Let me just add him in, and then we'll come to Paul Holly, and then we've got Adam, and then we've got Neil Nelly O'Connor waiting for us, so that'll be good. There we go. Neil, sir, how you doing?
Oh, very well, thank you, Peter. Yourself?
Oh, as I say, I'm. This is always therapeutic, so I'm on the downslide of any levels of frustration at the referee or our defending or what have you. But Yeah, we've got it out of the way for the day. What were your thoughts, and how were you left emotionally wrought or otherwise?
Well, I'll start with my most recent thought. Right now, I'm worried about the designer sheep that the W's are going to be returning with.
It wouldn't
So,
surprise. It would not
No.
surprise at all.
Adorning a Tashini tracksuit. But no, but to the football, picking up the conversation you and John were having about Alain or whatever.
Yeah,
pronounce
Alain.
his
Yeah,
name.
Max Alain. Yeah, what did you think of him?
Yeah, and well, I didn't watch the whole game first of all.
Okay.
But and my point really isn't specific to the game, but more in general.
Okay.
And I can't remember the exact stats, but normally in a game, I think most players are involved for about 8 minutes, and the remaining minutes is that they're able to influence the game in where they are on the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as fans, we do follow, or we've all got an inclination just to follow the ball and the impact that they do. And you judge a player with what they do with the ball.
Yep.
And then particularly when it comes from a defensive and a midfield perspective, they're far more influential by taking up the right position and inhibiting the play and the option of the forwards. Now,
Nice.
from when I've seen Alain, he actually takes up a position and a shape that I like.
Okay.
And it's just a bit of the game that I've always been fascinated about what players do when they're not in possession.
Yep.
And I think that's he's having to learn to play with a squad that is less football intelligent than he's used to. Right. So that's going to take time for him to gel and understand. And I think we've all seen that if you get a solid back four or back five,
yeah,
they grow as a unit rather than as a group of players. And that takes time to come through. So that was one point, and I welcome other people's thoughts on his overall game. But I like him, and he gives that bit of assurance. And there was one bit towards the end where he's closing the ball down and he back heels it. He's got that instinct, and he knows how to play football. So I think he will be all right there.
Nice, like that.
Greg's point about, and I use the name LK9. I don't like it, but I can't pronounce it, or Luca. What I like about what I'm seeing with him is if you go back to his first game and look at how he played and what he contributed compared to what we saw today, I think it's fair to say that there's a significantly upward trajectory.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So he's a young lad. He is acclimatising to living and playing in a new country and everything that goes with it. And if you haven't lived in another country, I don't think you understand just how different it is. So the fact that he's adapting and learning and developing in quite a short space of time, I actually think I've now got higher hopes for him than I had when he joined, and I was hopeful then. Good. So I think that's a really positive one to grow into. And then the final point is, if probably the only negative from today, because go back to John's point about have we come on. Last year, I think we lose that 2-1, right?
Yeah.
We would have just imploded. So the fact that we held on for a really good point was good. But the only bit of concern that I've got back is, and I call it naivety of our substitutes, because what he's done is he's tried to change players and plug them into the existing formation. As you say, Irakunda and Bar are two very different players, and it's as soon as the substitutes were made, we actually went backwards in our shape, our strength. I mean, we were absolutely defensive. I think at that point, when Bar came on, they hadn't had a shot on target all game, and then it quickly turned. And then to the last 20 minutes, I'd probably have Silva because my man of the match for the last 20 minutes, because that save that he made was, that would have been the 2-1 of last season. So lots and lots of different angles on it. But the overriding thing that I'm really, really pissed off with is, more than anyone else, the fact that fucking Swansea scored and my prediction wasn't absolutely nailed on.
Yes, because Neil's part of our Patreon group, who not only involve ourselves with Ecuadorian second divisions, really, but also is now a team in the prediction league. And your shout was 1-0, and it was so close to it. It really was. But instead,
no. But Pete, it was 1-0, and the goal was from a set piece.
Yeah, which you did say. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
grief. Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'd have been all over extra points for that, but clearly it's null and void.
Well, yes, and also it is obviously the worst, prediction league on the history of the planet. So, what can you do? What can you do? Neil, sir, wonderful as always. Thank you very much indeed for that. Let's get to Holly 68. We all know him as Paul. Paul, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and merry start of the season. Haven't spoken to you this season, so so good to catch up.
No, you haven't.
Good to catch up with you. How is everything with you after that game and everything else this season so far?
Yeah, I think today's game, if you think about two incidents in that game that where fine margins are, and if you remember in the first half when K9 literally was a yard out and their captain did a kind of bicycle kick to clear it away, where literally it was a tap in.
Yeah.
And then the incident in the second half, their goal, where a Banqua obviously thought he had more time, and the guy stole in front of him and nicked it in. And if you think about those two moments and reactions, where one centre half has reacted very quickly, sensing the danger, and the other centre half hasn't reacted quick enough, and it's cost us 2 points. And they're the fine margins probably that decided that game. On the season as a whole so far, Charlton away, I was very unhappy. But don't need to go over it again. But everything was wrong that day. We just looked like a bunch of strangers. Obviously, the Norwich first half, it went even further downhill. The Norwich second half, we suddenly saw a bit of team spirit, a bit of passion. And then last Saturday, whether QPR were terrible or we just stepped up or a combination of both, we suddenly started to see the shape of a formation and a team and a spirit that worked. All bar the goal just before half-time last week brought Rangers back into the game.
Yeah,
but we kind of defended pretty well in the second half, and probably 2-1 flattered them more than it did us.
It was a worldie against the run of play at the time, wasn't it? I mean, it was.
It was. Well, I mean, QPR were terrible. I mean, bloody hell,
they weren't great.
I thought we were bad. I mean, bloody hell, they were terrible. But I was really looking forward to today, and I actually thought he would go 4-3-3. I thought he would play Bar, Irankunda, and K9, but obviously stuck to what worked last week. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I think, I'm going to agree with lots of people today. One, the substitutes, the squad depth clearly isn't strong enough if their ambitions are to get in the playoffs or higher. Clearly, we are 4 or 5 players off that. I think we're not fit enough. I saw at Charlton a Banqua struggling in the last 20 minutes, and I think even today he struggled.
Yeah.
Kayembe seemed to struggle from the get-go, and I would have hooked him at half-time. To your point, Sissoko runs out of steam after 65, 70 minutes.
Yep.
And what it really shows is Cipriano, who's for me has been player of the season so far, no matter where you put him, the energy, the way he gets about the pitch, has been fantastic. So for me, Cipriano's been our best player, followed by Selvik, and our most exciting player is obviously Irakunda.
Yep.
If we can get him properly fit. And today also highlighted that Bar probably shouldn't have even been put on because he just was not himself today.
Is the problem, and I don't agree. I don't disagree with anything that you've said there, because in terms of the depth, and obviously we know we've got a number of injuries. That we've had. We bought in Wiley, but he's like his first stint. We've not seen him for a while, but fine. Boller I thought did all right today. Okay. But we've seen a number of players out. Obviously, Chakfatadze, Vata's only just sort of coming back in, and fine. The problem is, though, is surely the depth of the squad that has been put together to play 4-3-3. We have strengthened to play 2 wide players either side of a forward, and then the decision has been made no, we've gone to the 3-5-2, and I'm not criticising the decision tactically, because it's a joy to see Iran Kunda getting up, being active, proactive as a second sort of striker position, getting up and beyond, whatever we're going to call him, LK9, is it? I think that was very
K9.
K9. I like K9.
Yeah.
K9 is much better, and we can do lots of Doctor Who references. Louis Teixeira, go and look up Doctor Who. The earlier one. So that's I think that looks great, but you can see that he is, and those subs felt like round pegs stuffed into square holes. The system's working, and it does, but suddenly the personnel that we ended up with after 5 substitutes was a bit of a pig's ear, a little bit, I would suggest.
No, I agree with you, and obviously Morris, rumoured to be leaving, goes on. Dali Bashiru didn't go on, but again rumoured to be leaving.
Yeah.
Very odd to put that young lad up front and leave Doumbia on the bench. Obviously, we're not privy to how fit people are, or if they're carrying any knocks.
Exactly.
But some very, very strange substitutions. But what really frustrates me, and it has done probably since the FA Cup semi-final against Wolves, is our recruitment. And I don't know, other teams just be able to sign players. Like over a week ago, we were closing in on a international centre-back, I quote, and an international midfielder. And when Loser got sent off, surely that must have expedited the situation. And now we don't seem to be anywhere near, and we've got a number of names. I'd love to be a fly on the wall when we approach an agent, a player, what happens in those negotiations, because I've had the sense now for 6 years that we ain't very good at it. We take too long, and we lose players because we piss about. That's how it looks to me. Now, I'm happy to be corrected, but in any negotiation, you've got to have your target, and you've got to have a strategy. And a strategy, B strategy, a bit of extra money in case you need to use it to close. And I just don't understand how we just seem to take so long, and then suddenly they come from Udinese. They're under our nose. And what's the chances that 10 p.m. on deadline day, or 5 p.m. when the window shuts, we end up with a couple of last minute, we've been chasing them for 8 years type players that suddenly smell of desperation. I don't see a proper recruitment strategy, and I don't feel as though we're ever strong at negotiating and closing quickly. Time kills deals.
It does. Anybody who's been in sales, that is the motto. That is absolutely the motto. Paul, sir, thank you ever so much as well, and lovely to speak to you for the first time this season. I'm just going to read a couple of things off of the YouTubes and comments that guys have made. Wonky Donkey, which is an excellent name, I think we can all agree. Just keep ticking over until we have a fully fit squad, and maybe a couple of additions we'll see at the end, right end of the tunnel, maybe. Elliot, hello, Elliot, says good first half, awful second half. That's the season so far, isn't it, really? The high pressing game is very tiring, so we need like for like substitutions, for which we don't have at present. Doumbia should have come on, not Semedo, who looks useless, he says. Yeah, there was a ball over. He made a really good run. It was a good ball, and he just failed to be able to control it and trap it, and it just went off, and you thought, you've done the hard bit in terms of the effort, but if the technique lets you down there, it's difficult. Elliot goes on to say, why do we have so many players who go down during matches and end up going off? Iran Kunda and Elaine being the latest two. We definitely need that Popov. My understanding is that Popov got injured playing in about the 65th minute of the game on the 12th, and he was then not in for their next game. So Popov being Denis Popov of Dynamo Kiev, so he sounds like maybe ideal for us. Comes through. He's already injured, and he also said Vata came on, did nothing, but by then it was one-way traffic. You finish with the game when you've got Semedo, you've got Vata, and you've got Bar, and yet we're not playing them as a 3 up front at that particular point because of exactly what you just mentioned there, which is the issue with the right substitutes to be able to come on in midfield and be able to make up for that. And the fact is, we have recruited for that formation, but then we've changed to another one. Johnny Hornet said, "How do we get that effing ref again?" Like that very much indeed. And Matthew A says, K9, the Great Dane, the big dog. Many ways of considering that. That's very good. Okay. Let's get on to. I think it's time we went stateside. I think it's time we spoke to Adam. Adam, so how you doing? You know the D. There he is. He's already there.
Hey, hello, mate. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm very good. It's a great goal.
First time of the season for me as well.
Oh, look at this, everybody. It's like a reunion because nobody wanted to join in after Charlton. Understandably, I can get that.
I know. I was thinking about calling in. I was like, nah, I was just too kind of like there.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then Norwich was a midweek, so I was probably working.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I did see it actually, but never mind.
Cool.
Anyway,
how are you? And what are your thoughts on everything?
I thought, well, first half was bloody fantastic. And the pressing was just amazing, really, really good. A lot of energy. And as other people have said, if you want to do that all game, and we were basically disrupting Swansea from playing because they're a good footballing side. And as we saw in the second half, we can't bring on like-for-like players right now. But what I'm thinking, people are saying we haven't got enough depth in the squad. Look who's out right now. You've lost one of our best player, probably, Imran Loser, for 3 games. Georgie's out.
Yep.
That is just coming back. Duomo's out. So we have got the players. They just need to get fit. You can't have another 4 or 5 players. I think the squad would be too big, in my opinion. If you had, there would be too many players if they were not injured, obviously. But that's just my take on things.
It's a balance. I mean, don't forget when we had Clevs was, and I heard this come from his mouth, genuinely, he wanted a small squad. He didn't want to have lots of players who aren't able to make a difference and aren't able to, will be sort of unhappy around the joint. He was very keen to have, what's the phrase I'm looking for? He was very keen to have a very tight squad that was regularly playing. But of course, it's such a war of attrition, the championship, that you're going to pick up niggles, you're going to pick up knocks, you're going to have illnesses in the case of a few of those players, and it's very difficult for them to not play it as a squad game these days. It's kind of imperative that we acknowledge that and sort of build something in. But Iran Kunda, obviously, let's have a look at a couple of the players who've come in. Iran Kunda, obviously, is the order of the day because of his free kick today, but also his display against QPR in that first half and his display again today.
He's got something about him, hasn't he? He really has.
He has. He's got effervescence. I mean, Justin the other day said he plays football. He plays football with a smile on his face. And when was the last time we could say that? And I think that's a very, very good point.
I just hope he went down holding his hamstring. I'm like, no, not another one of them for another month,
Let's hope not, eh? Let's hope not. Good. Now, obviously, last year, you got over it. When was the last time you got over for a game
to the UK?
Was it?
It was last October.
Okay. Any plans to come back, or are you staying?
I am actually. I'll be here. I'm coming over to see the family at Christmas time. But
brilliant.
We're both the days that I think we're going to be in town. They're all away games. So we haven't got a home match. I doubt I'll get to an away game, unfortunately.
Yeah, no. Well, it's a family time as well, and you can't just come over and go, no, I'm buggering off up to or down to Portsmouth or wherever it is.
Or Norwich or something. I think Norwich could be one of them. But I'll tell you what I am happy with is as Luca Keremgard, I'm going to call him by his name. I think I said it right. He really, as I think someone else said the same thing. He looks so much better today than he did at the beginning. Against Charlton, and really good touches, holds the ball up well. Should have had a goal at the beginning, but for a brilliant save by their keeper. So I think, and we're getting balls in as well. And Gaki is actually crossing the ball pretty well. Bowler's crossing the ball pretty well. So,
well, I mean, this is this is the where I appreciate we come back to the subs and the strength earlier on, but Ngakia, I think, has had two decent games in succession, and we were talking about how the longer he stays fit, the more he is improving, which kind of makes sense, obviously. Andrews comes on, but it's depending on how you look at it. You can call it by a banquet. I was already shouting, where you've let the 9 go, you've let the 9 go, you've let the 9 go. Then he scored, and then I basically swore profusely at my son, who we'd also had an argument about who was going to take the free kick, because he was going, okay, Emby's going to get it. I go, no, this kid can hit them. So my son probably won't ever talk to me again, but hey, can you blame him? That's no bad thing. So I think Ngakia for Ryan wasn't the greatest. Obviously, we know that Elaine goes out and we bring in James Morris, but he's sort of so left-sided, it seemed a little bit awkward. He got booked for time wasting to go in and taking the throw, because he then passed it back across to Bolla. We saw did KMB come off at one point? I think he did for Vata, who is not a central midfield player by any choice.
The subs were just weird. I mean, they really weren't replacing. I mean, Ryan Andrews, he's okay going forward. He's got some pace, but he can't defend very well. Be honest.
No, absolutely. And the forwards is exactly as you say. You've taken 2 players who've been on an upward trajectory for the for the season, and over the last 2 games especially, firing and looking a bit like a partnership. There was a time when the ball was played out in the first half to Kieran Gard on the left side, and he went and competed for it, and he flung the header. He directed the header really centrally, and Iran Kunda was like, as he does, because he's like road running, he went meep, and just kind of went onto it. And you thought, brilliant. He's looking for him. He's just looking for him. He's figuring it out. And of course, when you then change and everything is higgledy-piggledy, it got away from us. It's one of them. Oh, well, sir. Oh, well. Well, next game is Southampton. Are there any changes that you would want to be making that are actually available to the manager? Would you stick with the formation, or would you maybe kind of change it depending on who's fit?
I think you got to consider fitness, but no, if Irakunda is fit, I really would like to see Irakunda and Bar on the pitch together. I think that could be really quite exciting, especially when you've got Loser back or Georgie back. That would be great. Obviously, those 2 are not available.
Yeah.
But if we could get Bar on the left and Irakunda on the right and Kiramgard in the middle, I would keep things pretty much as they were. Who would Bar replace?
You'd have to make a change in formation in order to play them all. I mean, if you switched it from a 5-3-2, if we're thinking about, and I appreciate a 3-5-2 and a 5-3-2 are ostensibly the same, but if you played 3 at the back and you're saying, okay, you've got to play Bolla and you've got to play Ngakia wide right, there is an argument that if you're playing further up, that Ryan Andrews may come into play. I think you've got to play Cipriano in the centre.
Yes,
and then you've got to play. Do you play KMB or do you play Sissoko? You probably play one for 45 minutes and the other for 45 minutes with what we've got. If you're not going to play Tom Delibishiru and actually get a bit of legs in there.
Is Duomo going to be fit for next week?
I don't think
he probably won't be fit for a whole game.
Yeah, well, he's missed a fair amount of the pre-season now. He's been out for a few weeks.
So he's going to play a bit part, if any. So,
and that would allow you to play Iran Kunda and Bar either side, and then play our lad K9, as we're all now deciding, and it's official, through the middle. But the problem then becomes, getting that support to him. You've got to get Bar to come in at the back post. You've got to get Iran Kunda to come in. I don't think there's any problem getting Iran Kunda to do anything personally, if he is fit. And we will wait and see.
I mean, that would be very sad if we've lost him. Then there's very little options.
Yeah. Well, we will see what happens. I mean, obviously, the next 2 games, I think if we can get 3 points from the next 2 games without Loser in the team,
exactly,
then that's a reasonable return to it.
And if we can sign a couple more players next week, again, that might, a midfielder and a defender they were talking about. I don't know what happened with that lad from Udinese, the one that became the vice captain.
Well,
that was all a bit weird.
Well, as I said before, I'd heard Piotrowski, who'd been playing in Poland and was signed relatively recently, and Lovric was suddenly mentioning it. He seemed to he seemed to go to the front of the running, and then suddenly it was like on Udinese sort of social media. Here he is. He's the assistant or is the vice captain. Doesn't look like he's wanting to leave anytime soon. Who knows? We'll end up getting what we'll get, but it's like Watford isn't a documentary as Wrexham have it. It's a it's a roller coaster and a soap opera, and we'll end up getting whatever we get, and whatever it is. Hopefully, it'll be fun. We can but hope. Adam, sir, if you come over and you're over for Christmas, sir, regardless of anything, we will get together and have a bevy because we don't.
That would be lovely.
That would be fantastic. I'd love to do that because Adam comes on first time of this season, but like Paul before him, regulars. So look, guys, as ever, if you want to make a call, do let us know. Come in and give us a shout. Just before I go to Nelly, I'll bring you in just a minute. But I just wanted to mention that if you are about tomorrow, it will be the women's first home game of the season in the league. They played on Wednesday at home, which is now Kings Langley, the Orbital Fasteners Stadium, which is just rolls off the tongue, and are playing Plymouth Argyle. The kickoff is apparently 3:00. Normally a women's team game is normally 2, but this is apparently 3:00, and they are good. They are good to watch. I have to say they really are. And as I say, they won against Charlton in midweek 7-0, which is really rather splendid. I think if you're going to win by a goodly margin, I'm afraid I wasn't there because I was recording the opposition view. Because I'm an idiot, but never mind. Let's get across to Neil, Nelly O'Connor. Nelly, hit your mic button. How you doing?
Hello, mate. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Where are you, Gatwick?
Yeah, I didn't go to the game because Mrs. Nelly's mum's not been well, and Sharon's been on hospital watch all week. But let's move on to the game. I enjoyed that.
Good. Well, first of all, sorry to hear your news. Sorry to hear your news. What were the bits that you liked? And then get on to the bits that you were sort of less keen on. Go on. What were the positives out of it?
Well, the thing is, Pete, is that result at Charlton, I mean, that would have been a draw right up to I think it was 97th minute.
94th minute.
Thanks, Pete.
Yep.
And then a win at home. And then a draw away.
Yep.
Now that's decent form.
Yeah.
So what I was impressed about today is we're playing like a football team.
Yeah.
As I said to you last week, those 2 goals were old-fashioned goals.
Mm-hmm.
And now we seem to have a player who can score from a set piece. Now, everybody's gone into this game away at Swansea on other podcasts this week is like doom and gloom. Oh, Imran Loser's been banned for 3 matches. Oh, we don't stand a chance. Well, really? Looking at the first half? Yeah, on the second half, we were going a bit defensive, but looking on the first half, we didn't look like that we were a team in fear. We looked like we were in a team that was going to get something out of that match.
I agree, and I'm not sure if you heard it, but I started this off with my first thoughts of the game, which were, the first 15 minutes were, okay, all right, we kind of grew into the game and kind of then got on top. But I was sitting there thinking, but we are stopping Swansea, and I do like Swansea. I can't deny it. Obviously, part of it is we've chatted to Luke for 4 years straight, but also the fact that Swansea were historically, kind of one of our rivals in the 70s, but also the fact that they play nice football. Everybody must remember them. Not under Brendan Rodgers, but definitely under Michael Laudrup. And they play nice football, and that's become so important and so ingrained in their philosophy. So to go there without Chakfatadze, without Vata on the pitch, without Loser, without Bar on the pitch at the start, and kind of overrunning them a little bit in that first half, I thought was a real positive. And if we can come out with something whilst we're getting some of those guys back, will help for certain. So no, I'm agreeing with that. It was a team who wanted to try to do something, which is a positive.
Well, I can still remember when Kenny Jackett was manager at Swansea.
Well, of course you can. I can remember when he was a manager at Watford, which was the first time he was a manager. But that, yeah, no, yeah, there's a number of things to like about Swansea.
Well, you know, going back over the years that we've been talking now, 2 or 3 years, you know, my philosophy is always second half of the season.
Yes, it is indeed. You always say nobody wins anything by Christmas. Coming into February and into spring, that's when you'll see everything. Yeah. Okay.
But if we can start with home wins and away draws, we'll be in a nice position. And if we've got the ability to rest some of our key players, on away games and come away with a point, I'm happy with that all day long.
Win at home, draw away. It's been an old motto for many a few years, and that there's no doubt in that at all. So there you go. Nelly will be taking that and be quite happy too. Now we've got somebody here, MX Hybrid Vox X Miracles. That makes absolutely no sense to me, but we're going to take a gamble and see what we can get out of. I don't know what I'm going to be able to go. There you go. Are you there, sir? Where are you? Yeah, you go. Right, hit your mic button down the bottom left, and then you can let us know your thoughts on Watford or what have you. Hello, how you doing?
I'm not ready yet, mate. I'm just getting my camera set up because I want to get a video of the conversation. Understand? Watford is now my English geography is not too good. Watford is part of London, is that right? Which is a south part of London, yeah, subsidiary of London, and Swansea is South Wales, yeah?
Yes.
South West Coast.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm a Scotsman. I'm from Glasgow. I'm not a singer. My voice is my first instrument. I also play guitar and piano. And my thoughts on football in particular.
Right. We won't bother with that. I think that was going somewhat random. Never mind. Well, let's get to the important bit, shall we? Let's get to the 5-word and long form reviews, which I didn't get to last week because I was all panicky and all over the place. Let's get to those 5-word reviews. Let's refresh a little bit of that and see where we get to. Right, 5 words. Here we go. Thick bait, enjoyable game, decent point. Onwards. I like that. That's very, very positive. Hampshire Hornet says no squad depth, no playoffs. This is why I like doing this thing, because you kind of get recurring themes from people, and people thinking in similar ways, but also people thinking in different ways as well. And that sort of the squad depth showing up today. The substitutions not quite working. Is that depth? Is that selection? Or is it a combination of the two? Who knows? It always ends like this, says Pete Joyless Jones. Paul, we heard from him earlier on, says proper tests, Saints next week. That will be a good one. I'm glad that one is at Vicarage Road after the QPR game. I think that'll be interesting. Gaz, Northwest Orn says good for 60 minutes. Then ... Alan Ray, we cannot run the clock down. Yeah, I don't like the sort of the time wasting and the antics. We complain about it, but I appreciate that other people will look at it and go, well, you've got to be streetwise. You've got to be you've got to have some shithousery about us, because others do as well. Didn't think we did it very well, and we ended up with somebody who was dishing out yellow cards for fun. Alan WFC says decent point. Need quality transfers. You can see in this. Oh, good, great, average, poor, says Paul. That's a very good summary. There's no timelines with that, but overall, I think it works. Held on for the draw. Just says Willie Eckerslike. Hello, Ken. Emma Royds. Hello, Brian. Says take the chances, win big. Yeah. Awesome cart there, Gary. No fucking meeting this week, he says. Malk up the Watty says, stop hoofing the fucking ball. There is a certain level of occasionally the hoof is coming out, and in the last 10 to 15 minutes, we did look like we were going, all right, well, we'll take a point away. But is that good game management? Or is it something else? I don't know. Carl Campion says would have won in yellow. Ryan Cripps says, my God, very lucky to earn a point there. Iran Kunda with a fantastic free kick, but frustratingly second best in the second half. Loser, a big miss today. On to the Saints next week. Simon Parkin says, great goal. Ref and numpty. Emma's back. Emma Royds should have won. Oh, well. Adam, we heard from him earlier on. Brilliant first half, dodgy second. Wendover said should have killed it off first half. It's good when we hear recurring themes because it means we're sort of looking at things and seeing similar trends, etc. Didn't lose, lessons learned. Next, says Ryan Doozer. Carl Wilson, hey Carl, says far too many muscle injuries. Michael Sills, young team need experience. Adding that will be interesting in the transfer window. Fingers crossed, because we've all waited for certain things to happen in transfer windows, and them not. We've done a lot of good business early on. I think we can see probably what does need supplementing, but we've also got to remember that we've got other players coming back, hopefully. Colin Hosier says, not even seen 1 minute of the game, but I'd have taken a point before the game onto a massive test versus Southampton. Everybody's got Southampton lined up. David Griffiths says, sounds like we have a new tactic in time wasting. Listen to the match on a Swansea radio comms. I think we did. I think we did, but we did the thing that frustrates us that other people do to us. So it's down to each individual as to whether or not you think that's a good, an experience and a team smart way of doing it, or whether it's uncalled for and un-Watford-esque. Yellow Army looked leggy in the second half. Absolutely, I think all of those were really straight kind of. In terms of just calling Alice Sawyer, there was lots that was enjoyable. There was some bits that weren't. Upward trajectory from the start of the season, absolutely. Holly on the long form says, how bad a QPR? 4-0 down at Coventry, 37 minutes in. Blimey, really? Dave Lavender says, need an experienced midfielder out there for the last 20 to 25 minutes, someone who could calm the team down, play simple passes and take the pressure off. In the end, it was a point which we don't normally get here. No, that is true. And a number of people have mentioned, obviously, 2015, 2016, where we bought in Connolly, and of course we bought in oh crikey, his name's escaping me momentarily. The midfielder Ginger, what was his name? I can't remember. John Parslow. Can the first and the last digits of Wendover Horn's credit card bill be his Patreon prediction for the Southampton game? That was 31. He went 3-1. Oh dear. Luton 0, Cardiff 1. Oh, awesome card. Thank you for that. Emma Royd says, get ourselves a player there, Pete. The kiss of death. Yeah, well, when he's there. Pete, what's going on with your microphone? Is my microphone working again today? Justin hasn't told me that it's not, so I'm hoping it's okay. We will see. Watford Limerick, we will come back to. Back the guy with midfielders, and we have a chance. What that 45 was the best in 4 seasons, says Stuart. Carl Wilson said the corner flag held the ball up longer than Bio ever did in the second half. He did. It was when Abankwa was looking to ferry the ball out, and it just kind of held up. And I think most of us looked at it and went, that's going to stop there. That's not going to roll out, but he still got it. If TDB doesn't get minutes today, with how stretched we were from 55 minutes, then it's clear they are selling him. So get it done and stop wasting opportunities to win football matches. 3 points drop, says Stuart. Lower GT 1971, a fine vintage, not quite as good as 1970 when I was there, but never mind. Rob Sterry says, young back 3, lessons there. Yeah, very true. Hey, Rob, I hope you're well, mate. Gary Giles says, all Watford did second half was waste time. Disgraceful. I get the feeling that Gary may be from Swansea, and if he is, I don't disagree with you. I didn't think it was. Was it time management, because we've time managed so badly in the past, but it doesn't feel very Watfordy. But there we go. Just glad we didn't lose in the end. 3-4 signings needed, says Watford fan 07. Ryan Doozer says, good first half performance, great goal, but lost our way a bit in the second half. A point away from home. Lessons learned for the team and manager. Real test next week. Kieran Gard is becoming a fine player up top. Iran Kunda is a tricky player. Love him. HK, signing of the season, in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely. Hector Cipriano's done himself no foul at all. Ryan says, you must be shit to lose to a Welsh team. Oops, sorry, Luton. Yeah. Well, we lost to a Welsh manager early on in the season. We shouldn't shout too loud. Dean Quick says, sounds awful, loud on 1 second and quiet the next. Well, I do apologise about that, guys. Anyway, let's get to Watford Limericks and then let you get on with your Saturdays and see the second half of any games that you can. Watford Limericks. The hopes of the Petzola nation were raised by our Aussie sensation, but we faded away, could not make more headway. Second half was a pale imitation. That's good. That's very, very good. I like that. Okay, guys. Well, look, thank you very much as ever for spending some time with us. We will see you certainly in the run up doing some Southampton-y things, and look forward to taking on the Saints next Saturday. In the meantime, see you soon. You Orns.